Alright, I'm doing something a little different here. I am multitasking a lot, so in the process of working on my adjusting of videos and where playlists are and all of that, I'm kind of skimming over some of the previous videos that I've done on my health and kind of doing like a wrap on that, but I have to watch the videos on Xbox in order to kind of wrap them up while being live. So, staying silent, possible autism.
So I have a hard time with getting words out for one thing.
I don't know how much of this in the background that can be heard, but yes, I do have a very difficult time with communicating in general and getting the right words to come out at the right time. And I'd say that that's a good portion of it is from physical brain damage. Autism, I really don't know. Maybe it may not be. Um,
The right words to come out at the right time. The words that I want to come out and when I want them to come out is a big thing. Has been for pretty much my whole life. I have a very hard time spitting out things that I need to.
Alright, so yeah, this whole video is just basically just explaining that I have a very difficult time with speaking and communicating and getting the right words to come out at the right times that I want them to. So we'll skip the rest of this one. Kind of joined all my videos into one playlist, so I have to sort of differentiate between the two playlists that I kind of conjoined here.
Okay, so where I left off, physical end of things. I am affected by a lot physically because of the brain damage, every.
Okay, so a lot of these videos when I was making them and put them up to begin with, one I'm currently on is deep explanation of answers on why, part 1 and 2, because my phone decided to cut off half the video, so I had to upload it into 2 different parts. And basically, just kind of summing up pretty much all of my videos here that I have so far is all of the symptoms I was having was from. I'll see if I can lift this up. It's a little bit better. I was living out in the trailer when I was making a lot of these videos, like almost all of them. The health issues that I was talking about was being in the trailer, and pretty much all of them sort of combined together with what knowledge I have now that I didn't have then was that basically that all of my issues that I was having, the everything cognitive, mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, yes, I do have PTSD, probably CPSD. Damn it, CPTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder. Damn, that one's a mouthful. But there is some things from earlier in my life that have affected me, which still do, but those things are all pretty much manageable. Still trying to get my camera and everything set up here. I'm not used to doing live videos. All of the symptoms that I was having. Let's see, what else do I have? I know I had issues with walking. I don't remember if I put that in any of my videos or not because I was terrified. Mm. Learning that pain is not okay, that does tie in with my PTSD because I was taught growing up my whole life that I'm supposed to just deal with whatever is happening to me, painful or not. And if it is anything painful, well, if you're not bleeding, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You got nothing to bitch about. It's basically what I was taught growing up. So I am still in the process of learning that pain is not okay and kind of learning how to react to it and respond. So that's pretty much the gist of that one is just, breaking old habits because when you're a kid is when you learn everything that you know now in life. And it's what you learned as a child is going to have lifelong effects on you, as it did me. And learning that pain is not okay is something that I've had to learn that well, just that it's not okay. I've never, you know, had the option to do that. It's always been, if you're not bleeding, you're fine. You know, I feel like there's a lot behind that though. A lot of historical information that maybe I can get into a little bit later on. Um, New health issues arising, possible mini strokes. Was not mini strokes. It was because of the electromagnetic EMF, which is electromagnetic fields affecting me, which were I was keeping track of those. And I mean, I didn't even believe the doctor when I was going off, listing off all these things that's happening at the times they are and what's happening, the surroundings, all of that. Doctor says that's not mini strokes, and I had a really hard time believing that. So now that I know what I know, no, it was not mini strokes. Um, Cause and physical effects of brain damage. Yes, I do have physical brain damage, but there is a lot of it that I'm still trying to learn uh learn kind of the differences between the brain damage itself and how that's affecting me versus how the EMF is affecting me. So there's still some things I'm learning on that. Wi-Fi is affecting me like currently in this very moment on the left side here. I hear what feels it sounds like a squeaky like if you have like PVC or rubber gloves on, you rub your fingers together, that's what it sounds like. And that's from the Wi-Fi. Physical status update on physical health. What was that one?
So I was going back through some of my previous videos, and I'm using my videos and channel as like a video diary for myself, as much as to explain what's going on with me to whoever is interested in knowing, basically, whether it's family, friends, whoever else. So episodes that I've been having. Well, yes, I went to ER, like I said, but now that enough time has passed and I know more about those episodes, they are looking a lot more like actual mini strokes at this point in time.
Yeah, not many strokes. Oh shit. Went back a little too far. Alright, so I had one that was a possible dementia warning, unknown new experience. So that one was the night that I was sitting there talking to Sam, and while he was actively talking to me and I'm making eye contact with him, and I had a brief moment of, while he was talking to me, thinking to myself, "Who are you?" Like, I did not recognize him at all, and that was one of the many ways that the EMF was affecting me. So that's what that one was. Knowing where the damages are. Okay, yeah, that one was on brain damage. That one is brain damage is still it does affect me in some ways. Like I said, I'm still learning more. Um Neurologist appointment. Well, we got that figured out. Neurologist didn't know what it was, but yeah, getting familiar with EMF radiation. So yes, EMF, electromagnetic fields, it is a form of radiation, and a lot of people have been arguing with me, and a lot of people probably will continue to argue with me, but it is a form of radiation. And yes, it affects me in a lot of different ways. It can affect different people in different ways to different extents. For me, um, well, one of the ways in my next video that I have here is the reverse aging and mapping where I've been. I have spent close to a decade in the medical field, and I became very familiar with death and the dying process, so I know what reverse aging is. It is kind of hard to explain, and it can be different for each person. For me, what I was experiencing was I started to do what I call time traveling. I started listening to music that I haven't heard since I was in my early childhood. And I got stuck just like reliving my early childhood and just kept on going backwards basically in my life, but in only in my head. I feel like there's probably more to that that I could or should add to it, but right now I'm lacking words, and that's part of the brain damage. Next one is EHS, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, which is what I'm currently dealing with. Like here in the house, even though, yes, I'm a lot safer distance away, I am very, very, very sensitive to everything. Like, I can't be too close to the microwave. I can't be too close to a Wi Fi router. I can't be under power lines in a car. Well, in metal cars, I should say, in real cars, in my opinion, because I like the ones that are made out of metal. I don't like these new shit boxes that are made out of plastic. So yeah, I gotta be careful of a lot of things now. Uh, December 1st, recovery status update, confusion, assumed depression. Depression, yes, I do deal with depression, but it is very much so manageable for me. I can manage it on my own. I don't have to have any antidepressants or anything if I am in a healthy state. Like trying to recover from this EMF intake that I've had, it has drastically affected my mental and emotional health. So I have been dealing with depression a lot more severely in the last, almost a year now since moving into the trailer than what is normal for me. So assumed depression, yeah, that was just being the depression itself was being aggravated because I was so close to that substation. So that was making it much, much worse. And also, I want to add to that just a little self note here that, well, note to self, I guess, that I have been taking gabapentin for nerve pain because during the whole process of before figuring out that it was EMF and kind of trying out different things with doctors trying to address and treat the problems that I was having. We tried gabapentin there for a while, and I have learned the hard way that gabapentin and EMF do not go very well together. I noticed that, like, in some of my videos, you might have seen me, like, right in here, I point out pain, and I'm hearing things more so on the right side. And something to point out is that I do have the majority of the physical brain damage that I have is on the right side of my brain. I have a lot more on the right side than I do with the left side. So, I've been having pain there, and then even after moving into the house, I thought that it should have been a lot better, a lot quicker than it was, and it really didn't even stop until I decided to stop taking gabapentin. I decided to stop taking that because of the fact that my depression and my emotional stability was so far out of my own reach. I could not control it myself. So I don't like antidepressants. That is like an absolute last resort for me. So when I finally hit my breaking point here just recently, and I decided, well, I'll do some research on it, and did some research. Turns out gabapentin is necessarily safe to be mixing with this antidepressant, which is also a migraine medication. And so I decided, all right, I'll stop taking gabapentin because I'm having more and more problems with my nervous system, and gabapentin is not really seeming to do really anything other than nothing, less than that. So as soon as I stopped taking gabapentin, I stopped having that pain in the side of my head. And I stopped having when I have that pain, I have that white noise. As soon as I stopped taking gabapentin, that stopped. So that tells me that gabapentin and EMF is a bad mix for my body. I am not saying that it would be the same for anyone else, but that's just how it affects me. So I figured that out. Um, I am because of the fact that I am I'm still within the week of getting off of gabapentin because you have to kinda taper off of it. I'm doing much, much better with my emotional stability as well, so I'm not even going to try taking the antidepressants because I feel like I'm getting much better now. So, no antidepressants, no gabapentin, no medications really at all. So depression is basically I'm figuring that out and figuring out how to control it and maintain it. Same with like all of my emotional and mental health. Taking everything personally, possible autism. I joined a couple of different autism groups on Facebook, and honestly, I really don't think I am. I thought that I was maybe because that's what I had been told when I was a kid, and just some of the symptoms from the EMF causing some of my pre-existing conditions, I guess, like sensory processing disorder that can come with physical brain damage. There is some things that can come from physical brain damage that also seem to have the same exact more or less effects as autism. So autism, I really doubt it. I don't think it's that at all. I mean, if I do, then it's, very, very, very extremely mild case. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't think so. Taking everything personally, though, I do know came from environmental things from growing up. The environment that I grew up in, the mental, emotional, and psychological, every kind of abuse that I had been through was pretty much causing that. Grandpa would always, since he was my main abuser, he was the one constantly telling me that anything that went wrong at all, even if it wasn't my fault, was my fault. So therefore, all throughout my life, I have always taken everything personally. And with some self work, I've been able to work through that and kind of get that pretty much under control and almost completely resolved by myself, which is awesome. Uh, Noticing some things aren't right. What's that one?
I'm trying to keep these videos kind of organized by topic and where they pertain to, if that makes any sense. And I'm getting ready to go to the doctor here shortly, and I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I need to apparently really need to go and get some more information on and let the doctor know about what's happening. I'm just not looking forward to the expected response of, well, why didn't you say something any sooner? Well,
All right, I don't know if any of the background noise is the audio is coming through on this live video, since I am watching my videos on my TV, and Xbox is right behind my laptop here. So I was in that video noticing some things aren't right from 4 months ago. I mentioned that, I was kind of worried about going to the doctor and letting the doctor know, like, hey, I'm having these symptoms, and the doctor saying, well, why didn't you say something any sooner? Looking back now with a healthier brain, I guess, being out of the EMF, I I started having I've been having some very, very mild symptoms of a couple of things here and there, like sensory and a few other things that I could have been able to work on myself. I just didn't realize that they were issues or that they needed to be worked on beforehand. So I thought, while living out in the trailer, I thought that these things were just out of nowhere getting heightened for some unknown reason. So I started taking that as that, you know, these were lifelong problems that I was having. And now that I'm in a healthier place, in a safer place, and can kind of get my brain more or less recalibrated, a lot of those symptoms, I mean, if they were there at all, then they were super freaking mild, because just looking back, it's like, some of those things that were happening after moving into the trailer were not happening before then. So, therefore, and that's also another thing, another step into figuring out what's been causing me to have the decline that I have. There's a lot of things that were not happening before I moved into the trailer. And then after I moved into the time that I did move into the trailer, I was working at a hotel. I was doing housekeeping, which is very strenuous on the body. So I ouch, I'm having some rib pain. With working as a housekeeper and being out in the EMF was like a double whammy on me. I had two things working against me very heavily at the same time, and I did not know that those two things were going to start hitting me as hard as they did. So that kind of just jump started my rapid decline. So looking back now, even though I'm still being affected very, very mildly, I am in a much better place mentally, and my cognitive and mental abilities are much more sharper. I feel more like myself. If I don't think that's quite the right wording I'm looking for, but I feel much healthier. Even my therapist says you look and sound so much better than before. Like when I first started going to therapy with this dude that I have now, you know, I started seeing him pretty much right in the middle of being affected by EMF and not knowing it. And we're kind of uncovering together the fact that, well, yes, every single little thing is pointing more and more to that EMF was definitely affecting me. And every time that, if I play it really, really safe and I stay in the bedroom and stay away from everything, have the door shut, pretty much have myself barricaded in here into the safest place where I can currently be. And I stay in here for, a couple weeks or so. I start doing really, really good. I start feeling much healthier, much better in every way. And then if I go and spend an hour out in my shop, out near that substation, that knocks me right back down. Just like how yesterday when I was in therapy, I was there for an hour, and during that time was confirmed that just the Wi-Fi itself was heavily affecting me. So I've been doing a lot of self-experimentation and have been figuring out that there's some things that I have to be very careful of. I have to really limit my time of where I am and what there is surrounding me, like Wi-Fi or, power lines, anything that is emitting any amount of radio frequency, I have to stay away from, at least as much as I possibly can. So I've figured out a lot. I've got a lot of answers to like pretty much all of my videos. So a lot of these videos that I've had up on my channel are going to disappear from, you know, visibility. So that's hence why this video being live, I needed to be able to record myself making these notes while watching the videos that I previously made in order to piece things together more so that they can make sense. But pretty much, let's see here, half an hour long story short, there is some things that were done to me throughout childhood that have heavily affected me, which I am able to work through those things. And then there's a lot of other things that have been very recent that have just started, and I did not know what was going on. Doctors cannot figure it out because EMF in the body and blood is completely undetectable. It's undiagnosable. All these issues I've been having, they're undiagnosable problems. And anything else that, like anything to do with my childhood and the way that I was raised, there is other things that I'm still working on, but they are manageable, that don't really require being recorded like I've been doing all these videos. So, gonna call this good and pretty much have all the answers to everything. Electromagnetic fields, which has caused me to have a very severe case of electromagnetic hypersensitivity. So, now that I know what I know, it has been a very, very tough learning experience. And now I kind of have a better understanding of what has caused me to feel what ways, and what's been affecting me, and how to more or less avoid them and how to recover. So this channel is definitely gonna be making a turn for something completely different. So see what happens.